Tower Defense X dropped a surprise update on us today with a new code, Goodbye XWM, a slight XWM nerf, a new leak for the next Golden Tower coming, and of course what this video is about, the Machine Gunner. But how does the Machine Gunner work? How can you use it to its fullest potential, and should you buy it? Well, let's find out. The Machine Gunner costs 18,000 gold to buy in the shop, and has a 50 level requirement, so it's a somewhat middle ground investment. The Machine Gunner is pretty much like the Sentry, with the exception that you can change the degree of this range anytime you want. This should only be used for long-term adjustments and not a quick way to adjust its range though, as it takes an extremely long time of about 10 seconds to adjust its new angle. Its lower levels are pretty good for relatively early defense, having basically the same efficiency as a Laser Gunner or Golden Ranger, except for the bullet type damage, which does hinder it during extra modes early to mid game. Unless you're playing Elite, which most people probably aren't doing, I wouldn't recommend using this tower for early defense due to the heavy focus on bullet resistance. So moving on to the separate paths, let's start with the top path. The top path is the cheaper of the two and focuses more on raw stat upgrades rather than new mechanics. It gets much higher DPS, a much higher attack angle, sadly it doesn't get any detections, but the most important part is that at max level it gets 4 pierce. That is the highest pierce currently in the game. This means that it can now attack up to 5 enemies at a time, and with this in mind, here's how I would use the top path Machine Gunner. The top path Machine Gunner doesn't have many detections, so how I use it is lining it up as straight with the path as possible, so then it can always hit the maximum amount of enemies possible, pretty much using it as a crowd control tower that also does pretty decent single target DPS. You could also use it as a somewhat spammy DPS option, but the lack of detections kind of says no to that idea, unless you brought Ghost with you. The bottom path on the other hand switches to laser type damage, gets stealth, gets way more range, but the drawback is that it has way worse cost efficiency. Think of the bottom path as a middle ground between spamming Railgunners and spamming Golden Juggernauts. It's just a good old spammy DPS option. So to recap, the top path is best used as a crowd control tower with its 5 pierce limit, while also being able to deal some decent single target DPS, but not being reliable due to a lack of detections. Meanwhile, the bottom path is pretty much just a generic spammy DPS option. The cost efficiency for bottom path is really hindering in my opinion though, so sometimes I still prefer using other DPS options. It just depends. Now, would I recommend buying this? Well, before, there used to be a pretty huge grinding gap between stuff like Juggernaut and Railgunner to XWM and Golden Juggernaut, but now, the Machine Gun serves as a nice bridge between those two. So if you have been feeling you need just a little extra DPS in your loadout, but can't afford big stuff like XWM and Golden Juggernaut, this is the perfect tower for you. Especially with the fact that the top path is really good. I'd say better than the bottom path for its really good crowd control potential. Just be cautious while using it though, because the limited kind of cone range does require you to think a little bit harder when using the tower. If this video helped you out, be sure to like and share the video around if you want more content like this, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, guys.